Superman, the brand new DC movie, and it is the beginning of the brand new Superman universe, the DCU. Yes, technically we had Creature Commandos, but Creature Commandos was kind of like a soft start. This is the real proper. This is the main course of the beginning of the brand new Superman universe. That's first filmed by DC Studios. That is, of course, co-CEO'd by James Gunn and Peter Safran. This movie is also written and directed by Gunn himself, who, of course, did written and directed all three Guardians of the Galaxy films, plus the holiday special, and did the Suicide Squad film, the last one, Peacemaker Season 1, and, of course, the upcoming Season 2, and also Creature Commandos Season 1. And this episode, and what had to happen was this had to win, because the DC name was, driven to the ground. So this had to be like the Iron Man for this universe. It needed to be a win. And what I will say here is and look, yes, the critics and most of the critics are enjoying it. The audience are loving this film, right? And what I will say here is, I agree with those people. This movie, I came while watching the credits roll, because there's two post-credit scenes. Nothing hinting the next movie. It's not hinting to Supergirl. It's not hinting Clayface or whatever, or Lantern, whatever. Or secret cameos like Batman shows up. And there's none of that. It's none of that. It's just little fun stuff. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy. You know what I mean? The Guardians of the Galaxy post-credit scenes, where they're kind of just fun. They're not they're fun post-credit scenes. They're not linking to the next movie or whatever. But while watching it, watching the credits, I basically said to myself, this is what DC needs. And also, if there's more of this universe, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Give me Room Tomorrow. Give me this movie now. Give me Clayface now. Give me, even though they haven't shown anything for Clayface, give me Lanterns now. Give me Peacemaker Season 2 now. Because I'm ready for this universe to just explode and get the next 10 years just pushing through with the odd Elseworld story, like the Batman Part 2 or what have you, whatever someone has installed. But yeah, I'm watching this, and I'm watching this film. I'm like, I can't see why anyone wouldn't like this. This is a movie that feels all those things. And also, this film, what I will say here is, this is a super movie for people who have a hard time connecting with Superman. Because Superman is a character that's, for some people, a lot of people, they prefer Batman, because Batman is human and he is dealing with emotional struggles, and he's and he's him and his villains a little bit fucked in the head and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to Superman, the complaint is that he's too powerful, that I can't, because he's an alien, he's a boy scout, he's too, there's no conflict. What can he conflict? And this is the movie, I think, and this is the take on Superman that I think is going to connect for all those moviegoers who have a hard time connecting with the character. And also bringing the fans who have loved this character since whenever it was, if it was since the Christopher Reeve days, when, back in 1978, or if the 90s with Superman the Animated Series, or the early 2000s with Smallville. And even look, I'm a fan of Man of Steel, guys. For all you Snyder people, coming at me, why I will say it's not Snyder called this. I'm a fan of Man of Steel. Just want to point out, I am a fan of Man of Steel. But this movie captures what Superman is. He's a simple hope, and when you watch it, when at the end of the movie, you want to feel warm and smile and And also at the same time, when it comes to the character, you want to be a better person. You basically want to be him, and not because he can fly, not because he has super strength, but you want his personality. You want his, because this whole movie, at the beginning of the movie, he's having a hard time understand why people will have a problem with what he's been doing. This is a Superman who's been around for 3 years. He's been, I always say like a year and a half, like, the months. But he's, technically, by the opening call, he's been Superman for 3 years. And he's just doing the whole swooping down, save the day, kind of typical Superman stuff. But the problem is, people have a problem because, the gray is coming up. And he's just naturally, not frustrated, but he's just having a hard time understanding what's the issue. I'm just doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. When was this so complicated? And it's in the trailers with the big interview scene, and the whole interview scene in the movie is like so well put together, because also it's not just showing actually showing a number of things. It's showing Clark's Clark Kal-El's frustration, but at the same time, it's showing Lois's porter skills. It's also showing the case of their relationship, because at the beginning, they've been dating for like 3 months. They've been dating, they're in that like will this work, will they not work phase, of the relationship, when it's like they start thinking long term wise, versus like can this is this long term, versus just, hey, it was fun a couple of months, maybe a little bit good in the sack, but that's kind of it. It's not a fling, it's a whole thing, and it's starting to that scene kind of questions it as well, which it just feel like the why in that scene and Superman Clark feels like a real person. And people would be like, well, he's not human. But remember, he was raised by human beings. He doesn't know about Krypton. The only thing he knows is a hologram of his dad and his mom. That's it. So in this, Superman, he has the warmth and the heart and his parents are, were the nicest, Jonathan and Martha Kent, as much as they are, like, full-on country folk, like, full-on, like, I understand James Gunn was trying to make the Kents, like realistic country people, but, like, and farmers, but I was like, Jesus, like, this might come down to a full-on stereotype to the point, it's like, Jesus. Like, definitely when it comes to Martha. Like, Martha Kent was, like, going too... I was thinking, are you going a little bit too... too... I don't want to say redneck, but a little bit too, old country. But anyway, but that's the thing. He's human because he was raised by them. Even though he is an alien. And it's showing his frustration, even hearing the word super shit. Super shit. Which, it's kind of funny. And how that gets to him and all that. And of course we get all these, showcasing the bigger universe with, other characters like Mister Terrific, like Hawkgirl, like Guy Gardner. And, the highlight, of course, everyone's going to talk about this, the highlight in those 3 characters is Mr. Terrific. And how, there's humor, there's this and that, and he's the intellect. Like, there's intellect and all that kind of stuff. And I thought the film, we was able to showcase Mr. Terrific in a weird highlight. And, of course, we're going to see more Hawker, we're going to see more Guy Gardner. Later, of course, we're going to see those 2 characters in Peacemaker Season 2, and we'll see a Guy Gardner in the Green Lantern show, Lanterns. So, if you're like, oh, I want a little bit more of that character, don't worry, there's more to come. Now, Krypto is a great addition. Krypto, who is this bad dog, he acts like a regular dog. And I keep every time Krypto shows up, I was like, Krypto, what are you doing, man? Krypto, what are you doing? Like anytime he does something, I'm like, no. But there's a couple of times I'm like, that's right, Krypto, you do what you do. Go do the go do what you do. If you know at the very end, you if you've seen the movie, you know what I know. I don't want to hit spoilers for people who haven't seen it. And that the action's fantastic, and of course it kind of feels like phase 1 and 2 Marvel problems, which is everything's great but the villain's weak. Like Lex himself is amazing. How Nicholas Hoult plays the character is really well put together, and how he's able to be this menace and he's showing the narcissism of him and able to show the intelligence of him and how obsessed he is with Superman and all that. I like this take on Lex Luthor. Maybe not my favorite take. Maybe not my favorite take on the character, but I was like, hey, this is a Lex that we can follow. This is the Lex that we can full on. This is the Lex we can follow. But when it comes to like the other villains like Ultraman and the Engineer, they're kind of just there so something that Superman can fight at the end. That's basically their goal. That they're not that fleshed out. And even with the big reveal with one of those characters, I was like, okay, we're doing Blur with Blur. I just want to do that. Metamorpho is a real sympathetic character. Like, you can feel that this is a character who's for heart. I don't know much about Metamorpho. Like, when it comes to comic knowledge, and comic reading, I'm more of a DC guy than a Marvel guy. Definitely, if you see my comic, collections, it's a lot of DC, barely any Marvel. I do. Sometimes I'm like, do I get the DC Comics app? Not like, can I get the Marvel app? Those type of things. Anyway, there's a lot of things I would change with this movie, which is there's some weird cut to black moments, and I'm like, you could just not have those and just fully transition with those scenes to the next scene, and that. There's some law-breaking stuff with Superman, which I'm fine with. I mean, Smallville did it. It's dealing with Jor-El and the the Kryptonian parents, which I'm fine with, because once again, it's Hammer Holmes. Superman he's human. Yes, he's from Krypton. Yes, he ain't. He's able to do these things, but he's human. Make him as less alien as humanly possible. And it gets dark. I mean, this movie does get dark. There's a real, showing how evil Lex is and how twisted Lex is. There's a scene that's very, what the is, going, it's quite, whoa. But I quite enjoyed this movie, and that the audience is this, my audience clearly enjoyed the film, because how many someone enjoys a movie when they're just sitting through the post-credit scenes, sitting through the credits waiting for the post-credit scenes. They enjoyed the film. And I think. And, people laughed, and people... the thing is, this is a movie with balance. This is what James Gunn's able to do. Let you care about things that you think, I can't believe I'm caring about robots. This is... care about robots. And when stuff happens, you feel emotional to these said robots. But there's in that, but James is able to find balance. Like, find the balance of humor, find a way when it's time to get heavy, because there's real emotional moments in this film, emotional moments that carries through the entire thing, and real serious or quite dark, or just two characters having a conversation, and when it gets bonkers, it gets bonkers. Like the third act is just like, comic bookness galore, Superman punching someone's teeth out and hitting the camera lens is just the bottom of the creme. There's more crazy than this, and yes, it is diving more into the silly sci-fi aspect of it, as with the Superman robots. There's something doing with like a green alien type creature. There's something doing with, but I think like a lot of people say, oh, I don't think the general audience is able to get to it. I honestly think like I think as film fans who really deep dive into this stuff, we really think that the general audience not is stupid, but we think the general audience can't like get their head around big giant concepts, and it's like they can jump in big giant concepts. Sometimes other movies help them. Like we're dealing with dimensions in this film. We're dealing with dimensions. And it's like, thank you, Marvel. Thank you, Sony, for the Spider-Verse, for helping people's mindsets between portals of dimensions and stuff like that. But yeah, this movie is a win. This is an absolute win. I probably like the more I think about it, the more probably there's this part, but like by the interview scene onwards, like the only thing I wish was maybe don't start with the movie how like the teaser trailers start, maybe start like maybe build it up a little bit, but okay, you want to start with a big action sequence or something, but yeah, I dug it. I dug the film. And when the old John Williams theme come on, da 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 da, ba ba ba. When that moment happens, you're like, yes, and yeah. Anyway, if you've seen the film, I mean, oh shit, talking about nearly 18 minutes, but clearly I like the film. DC, clearly when it comes to DC, I wear the fandom on my sleeve. So anyway, of course, the next thing is Peacemaker, which is in a month and a couple weeks away. So, anyway, comment below. Let me know your thoughts of this episode. And by the way, for those people out there, I have no shield. No one's paying me. I like the film because I like the film.